And we think that the world is getting worse and worse and worse, while by almost every standard, it's gotten extraordinarily better. Not every, but almost every standard, right? The global income around the world has more than tripled. The human lifespan has more than doubled. We're about to double the human lifespan again. The cost of food has dropped 20-fold over the last century. The cost of energy has dropped hundreds of fold over the last century. The cost of transportation, thousands, and communications, billions of fold. So why have these positive changes been happening? Why now? Why over the last 100 years? It isn't better politicians. We haven't had a hardware upgrade in our brains. It's the impact of exponential technologies. These technologies are transforming the planet, right? If you think about Google or Baidu giving access to information to 7 billion people on the planet, that has transformed the world as something that's free for everybody. So we'll talk more about those things. So, as you beautifully said, scarcity is contextual. And I think about technology as being the force that takes anything that used to be scarce and makes it abundant over and over and over again, which means it takes things that used to be only available to the wealthiest and makes it available to the world. So the analogy I give is, imagine an orange tree filled with oranges, and I go and pluck the oranges from the lowest branches, and once I've plucked everything I can reach, oranges become scarce. Until I invent a piece of technology, called ladder, and now it gives me higher reach, and I'm now able to make oranges abundant again. And we've seen this in energy, right? As we saw our ability to drill down 5 kilometers and 5 kilometers sideways has opened up oil reserves, and fracking opened up natural gas. But at the end of the day, we're about to open up what is the largest access to energy ever, which is solar. At the end of the day, we have 8,000 times more energy hitting the surface of the earth from the sun than we consume as a species. There is a squanderable abundance of energy from the sun. It's just not all in a usable form yet. But if you look at the numbers in the global growth of solar production and the exponential reduction in the costs, the predictions are we're not 15 to 20 years away from providing the majority of all the global energy needs from solar. Wind is ahead right now, but solar will catch up. The World Economic Forum, said that in 30 countries, the cost of solar was cheaper than fossil fuels, right? Coal is dead, period, done. Just this last month, India shut down 37 coal mines, and it just will not recover. Oil and gas will follow in the next 15 to 20 years. We're going to see ourselves going towards an all-electric or majority electric economy, and we can talk about what the implications of that are. Interestingly enough, the poorest countries in the world are the sunniest countries in the world. So another example of scarcity and contextual, what would you think of as the most scarce things in the universe, right, or Earth? A perfect 5-carat diamond, right? So one of the companies I advise in Silicon Valley, called the Diamond Foundry, has a machine about so big. In one end comes electricity, water, and methane, and they can effectually manufacture actual perfect diamonds. How big would you like it? 5 carats, 6, 7, 8 carats. Would you like color? Would you like imperfections? You can add those if you want, right? And what was the price? It's $5 a carat. They're not going to price it. They're not pricing it that way. But so for me, and we can discuss this in the Q&A, we're heading towards creating abundance in every single area. Where we're heading very rapidly towards a world where the poorest child and the wealthiest child have access to the same health care. The poorest child and the wealthiest child have access to the same education. And should not be something that we think is impossible, right? Because the poorest child and the wealthiest child on Google have access to the same information in the world, right? In fact, the child of the wealthiest or the poorest child here in Brazil has access to the same information as Larry Page at Alphabet on this device. We're democratizing those things.